people can tell you, don't do this or don't do that, but my whole mind state is that if we don't ever go outside of the boundaries, we will never change anything, we will never begin anything, we will never start anything. We'll just keep talking about the people who did it once and told us not to go outside the thing.
Tupac Amaru Shakur, the iconic rapper, poet, actor, and activist, had a brief but significant relationship with Keisha Morris, his only wife. Tupac and Keisha first crossed paths in the summer of 1994 at the Capitol nightclub in New York City, then known as Chippendales. At the time, Tupac was 23 and Keisha, a 20-year-old pre-law student at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, was working as a camp counselor. Their initial encounter was brief, but memorable. They danced and exchanged a short conversation, during which Keisha, aware of Tupac's ongoing legal issues, he was facing sexual assault charges stemming from a 1993 incident, advised him to be cautious about his associates, and expressed hope that his troubles would resolve. Tupac, struck by her sincerity, remembered the interaction vividly. A month later, in July 1994, they reconnected at another NYC nightclub, The Tunnel. Tupac approached Keisha, recalling their entire conversation from the Capitol, which surprised her. He admitted he'd been searching for her, visiting various clubs in hopes of finding her again. This persistence marked the beginning of their romance. They exchanged contact information, and Tupac's charm and intensity quickly drew Keisha in, despite her initial skepticism due to his legal troubles and public persona. That evening, Tupac invited her to his hotel room, but Keisha, mindful of the sexual assault allegations against him, declined, prioritizing her safety. Their connection deepened through subsequent conversations, and they began dating. Tupac and Keisha's relationship developed rapidly against the backdrop of his tumultuous life. In 1994, Tupac was navigating a high-profile career and serious legal challenges. He had been charged with sexual assault after an incident involving Ayanna Jackson, who alleged that Tupac and others assaulted her in his hotel room. Additionally, he faced firearms charges and survived a shooting at Quad Studios in November 1994, which heightened his paranoia and strained his relationships. Despite these pressures, Keisha found herself drawn to Tupac's complex personality. His charisma, vulnerability, and commitment to social justice resonated with her.
Tupac and I met at a club in New York, and we spoke very briefly for about 5 minutes. And then we later on met about a month later, and he remembered who I was and remembered the conversation that we had, and he offered to take me out.
Okay.
When he first approached me, he was very nice, very gentle, and a lot of people, the perception of that he had out there was a negative one, but he never at once, anytime, gave me a negative perception of him at all.
Keisha described Tupac as different from his public thug image. In private, he was thoughtful and philosophical, sharing his dreams of fatherhood and a quieter life. He told Keisha he wanted to move to Arizona, name a daughter Star and a son Michelangelo, though Keisha vetoed the latter. His aspirations for a family surprised those close to him, like his publicist Karen Lee, who noted Tupac's transformation under Keisha's influence. Keisha, a square and reserved college student, provided stability during Tupac's chaotic period, becoming his first serious girlfriend. As Tupac's legal battles intensified, their bond faced tests. On December 1, 1994, Tupac was convicted of first-degree sexual abuse and sentenced to 18 months to 4.5 years in prison. By March 1995, he was incarcerated at Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York. Keisha remained supportive, visiting him regularly despite the emotional and logistical strain of prison visits. Tupac's imprisonment deepened their connection, as he relied on Keisha for emotional support and practical assistance, such as contacting death row record Suge Knight to secure financial help for his mother, Afeni Shakur, who was at risk of losing her home. Tupac proposed to Keisha before his sentencing, viewing marriage as a way to formalize their bond and ensure she was respected as more than a girlfriend by his associates. Keisha, though hesitant due to his impending incarceration, accepted, swept up by the gesture and their love. On April 29, 1995, they married in a modest ceremony at Clinton Correctional Facility. Keisha was 22, and Tupac described her in a deposition as a nice, quiet, square woman who had just graduated with a degree in criminal justice and planned to attend law school. The marriage, however, was not consummated due to the absence of conjugal visits at Dannemora, which Tupac noted had a hostile environment with a high presence of white guards and incidents of violence. Keisha took on significant responsibilities during Tupac's imprisonment. She visited him frequently, sometimes daily, despite the stress of prison protocols. When she couldn't visit, she ensured someone else did, keeping Tupac connected to the outside world. She also helped manage his business affairs, including facilitating his deal with Death Row Records, which led to Suge Knight posting Tupac's $1.4 million bond in October 1995.
So when it came to getting Pac out of prison, only person made it happen and let me know to get Pac out of prison was a girl named Keisha. That is the baddest bitch in the world. If it weren't for Keisha, you guys wouldn't have heard All Eyes on Me, all the other hits she did. Keisha called my office every fucking day. Every day. I'm Pac wife. He need to talk to Mr. Knight. He need to talk to Suge Knight bad. His life threatening. It's important. It's important. It's important. Flew private to New York. Had to fly a smaller jet to get to where Pac at. And then take a 2-hour limo ride to get to the prison. Very first time I seen Pac, you know, we had the conversation. I kept going back. But Keisha made that happen.
Keisha's loyalty was evident, but the strain of supporting Tupac during his lowest point took a toll. Tupac was released from prison on October 12, 1995, after serving 10 months. The couple's marriage, however, unraveled shortly after. Keisha initiated the annulment, feeling that Tupac had changed post-release. She told XXL magazine in 2011 that the dynamics shifted once Tupac was free. Things were getting very different once he got bail, and I felt like I wasn't needed anymore. It wasn't a good feeling. Tupac's re-immersion into the music industry, alignment with Death Row Records, and return to a fast-paced lifestyle left Keisha feeling sidelined. The annulment was finalized in March 1996, 10 months after their wedding.
You got married in prison. What happened with that?
It didn't work. Not because of her or me or jail. It just wasn't the right thing to do at the time. I married her for the wrong reasons.
What were the reasons?
I cared about her, but I married her because I was in jail. I was alone, and I didn't want to be alone.
Tupac dedicated a poem, March the 1st, in his poetry collection The Rose That Grew from Concrete, to their divorce, reflecting on the emotional weight of their separation. Keisha later clarified that the decision to part ways was hers, driven by the overwhelming stress of being married to someone of Tupac's stature and her sense that he no longer needed her support.
You and Tupac were married while he was incarcerated. Stayed married for how long?
For exactly. A little under a year.
A little under a year. And then the marriage was annulled.
Right.
Why? Tell me what that was all about. You annulled it.
I annulled it.
Why did you do that?
Just for, well, we were going through difficult, times, but basically for tax reasons and, lawsuits and it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
We said we were going to try it once he was released from jail. We were
Right.
definitely going to redo it again.
And that never happened?
No.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask you that obviously there's a big difference between divorcing someone and having a marriage annulled.
That's what I was advised to do by my lawyers. They said that would be best for me. They were for my interest, and they said that as for divorce, that they would rather me annul it.
Despite the split, Tupac respected Keisha, telling her, "You will always be Mrs. Shakur," a sentiment he reiterated in their final interactions. Despite their divorce, Tupac and Keisha remained close friends. Keisha emphasized in interviews that Tupac was not the type to completely cut ties unless he was done with someone, and their bond endured. They stayed in touch, and Keisha saw him in New York the day before his fatal shooting in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996.
Can you talk about your marriage a little bit? Because I know you got married and that was quick.
I'm trying to give my ex-wife her life back and her privacy by not discussing it over and over again. But I will say that she was a wonderful person. She held me through my whole prison stay. She was there every day. We got married. She was my friend. It was never a joke on marriage. It was just we had to do what we had to do with the situation we was given. And we made our decisions. If she was my friend, she's still my friend. I can call her right now. I call her all the time and she tell me everything that's popping in New York.
She's from New York?
Yeah. She still lives right in the heart of it. She live in Harlem.
You ever want to get remarried? Have kids? All of that?
Mm-hmm. After I'm finished riding.
I hear you. I read somewhere that you said that you don't have time to be married and to be in this business.
Be a good husband, and I'm one of the niggas that want to be a good husband, and I want to be a good father.
On that occasion, after the MTV Awards, Tupac invited Keisha to his hotel room at the Hotel Nico. Their interaction was bittersweet. Tupac, exhausted, fell asleep after asking her to stay, and they didn't discuss their past in depth. Keisha left without waking him, a decision she later reflected on with regret but acceptance. Tupac was shot in a drive-by in Las Vegas and died on September 13, 1996, at age 25. Keisha, overwhelmed by media attention, went into hiding, evading outlets like Hard Copy and Geraldo. She eventually shared her story in a 1997 Sister to Sister interview with Jamie Foster Brown and a 2011 XXL magazine feature, aiming to preserve her memories of Tupac authentically. Keisha Morris pursued a private life post-Tupac. She earned a master's degree in education and became an educator, teaching about social injustices, race, and inequality. issues Tupac addressed in his music. She also ventured into acting, appearing as Lisa's friend in the 2005 comedy The Bag Man, her only film credit. Keisha is a mother of 2 children from a subsequent relationship, but has reportedly never remarried.